All right. Welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and here in the Zoom room. And for those of you that are a little late to the party, well, guess what? Unfortunately, you missed the rendition of everybody singing Happy Birthday to Phoebe Wallace. Well, happy birthday, Phoebe. Phoebe's one of the pioneers that was actually with us from very first day of Numi. Now, if you're watching us online on Facebook or YouTube, you speak Spanish or French, hop on over to the Zoom room because live translations happening right now. Florence is translating in the interpretation room for us in French, and Alfredo is translating for us in Spanish. So you've got both of those live today. And in case you're wondering, I want to kick off with this. This was made specifically so I can stick pins in it and say, where is the team around the world? I need a little pointer like, what's his name? Mr. Squiggle. This is a real background, not a pretend one for the first time ever, guys. So today's topic's going to be fantastic. And I want to just bring up some notes to kick off with before we get started, because this is going to be very important. So today's session is called Social Media One-on-One, 101, I should say. And it was really interesting because we were chatting with corporate about the fact that we're about to roll out the new app and the new website. It's imminent now and could be pretty soon. I don't want to say exactly when, but very soon. And I know what's coming your way and it's going to be spectacular. Having said that, we said that it's like handing a gun to a baby. If we just say, here's an app, and people start posting every single day, you're going to repel the crowd that you're actually looking to attract in the first place. So we've got some slides I'm going to go through, and it's interesting because we did a social media training session on the power of Facebook on the first month of Numi's operation. We taught everybody. But unfortunately, what happens is people start joining, as Aaron said a few weeks ago, and the orientation is right there. The Numi 123 process is right there. Everything's right there in recordings, and you can access it on the app in the back office. However, maybe the upline sponsor hasn't held the hand properly of somebody and they haven't directed them to them. So this social media training has been around for a long time, but we've tailored it now for today's session, specifically because we're about to roll out the new app. We're about to roll out the new website. When we do, we don't want you to overdo using of that. And it's going to be very important that we all get on the same page. So without training people, without training members properly on social media, basically they can go out and do more damage than good. And it could be like the blind leading the blind. And so, for example, if you see my profile, and by the way, if you haven't got a pen and paper, please get one right now because this session is going to be the most important session for you ever. So, for example, if you look at my profile and you see what I post publicly and you think that's what's creating all the results, you would be actually fooled because that's not the case. I'm going to pull the veil back today and show you how social media work has worked for me instead. So, as I kick off, I'm going to ask a few questions, okay? So, first question I have, if you're sitting at a bar and someone walked straight up to you at the bar without introducing themselves and saying, hi, my name is, where you from, any of that, just straight up way, walked up with no introduction and then said to you, hey, I've got a great nutrition product that you need. It'd be amazing for you. It'll help you with your health and wellness. I was going to say hands up instead. Type in number one in the chat if you would find that annoying and offensive that the person didn't introduce themselves but just suddenly launched into telling you how amazing their product is. So type in number one in the chat if that would offend you. Someone said one and weird. Lots of ones. Okay. So that's the first one. If someone came up to you in real life at a bar, didn't introduce themselves and just said, you need this product, this is amazing, you would basically turn the cheek another way and go somewhere else. Okay, thank you. You can see the majority of people are saying, that's stupid. Why would you do that? That's not people skills. Why would it be different on social media? Just curious, right? Okay, so now I want another one I'm going to ask you. Question number two. If you turned your television on and you went to watch your favorite TV program that you just love, I'm watching a great series at the moment, for example, but all you saw was adverts continuously online, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? Who would find that offensive and who would turn the TV channel to a different channel? Type in a number two if you would. Okay. So again, everyone's saying That would be horrible. Why would I watch adverts, right? Now, what if I told you before we start this training that there's plenty of people out there in Numi who have been not trained or poorly trained or don't really have people skills 101 to know this, that are posting 3 times a day with Numi and not posting anything about themselves personally. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to give you a real life example. There's a few examples I can give you, but I was just scrolling through Facebook looking at a few people yesterday, and I saw one profile that for 18 months has been in Numi, 18 months, and every single day there is 2 or 3 posts about Numi, 2 or 3 posts, 2 or 3 posts, 2 or 3 posts about Numi. Nothing but really about the individual connecting with the individual, but a lot of AI generated posts, which are obvious when you see AI ones. You can tell they come from the same platform everybody else is using, and no personality, just posting Numi, posting Numi, posting Numi. What if I also told you that everyone watching that goes, oh, that must be working. I'll take those posts and I'll do the same thing. What if I told you the person that's posting that has hovered around senior member for 1.5 years doing 3 posts a day? Ooh. So what I'm saying is don't blindly assume what you're seeing online works. And this is why we're running the session today, right? So what happens is people perpetuate something without knowing the facts behind the scenes. And as a result, it doesn't go anywhere. So a third question, how do you feel when someone adds you on social media, yeah, and then sends you a welcome message and interacts with you, or if they haven't met and they explain how they've met you before, or if they haven't met you before, maybe they type an explanatory message saying, hey, lovely to meet you, Florence. We haven't met before, but, this is how, why I'm connecting, yada, yada, yada. Let's see in the chat, type of number 3 if you would find that more thoughtful and a good way of starting a genuine conversation. Okay. 3. Lots of people typing in 3. Interesting, isn't it? It's not rocket science. Okay. So let's go for the fourth question. Okay. Let's take another step. Assuming that your new friend of yours didn't post Numi every day, but instead revealed interesting things about their life in general, and randomly every now and then put up a little bit of information about Numi, right? Or better still, asked questions on their social media to engage conversation. So it didn't look like they were spamming you. Instead, it looked like they're interacting with a tribe or a group of people, right? Let's see in number 4 if you would see that as a much more balanced approach that wouldn't scare you off. Hmm. Number 4, number 4, number 4, number 4. Okay, so 100% strike rate with all the questions right now. And then finally, let's take the final step. How do you feel when someone shows a genuine interest in you and then ask open-ended questions to engage a conversation, right? Let's see a number 5 in the chat if you would find that enjoyable in a conversation and you wouldn't feel so sold to. 45. Someone typed two numbers at the same time. Fantastic. So we can see here those 5 questions, right? So I'm just going to go through them again for the brand new people. The first question I asked is if you walked into a bar or someone walked into a bar, walked straight up to you without introducing themselves and said, hey, I've got a great nutrition product, you should buy this. You'd go, leave me alone, go away, annoying. Everyone agreed, right? The second question was if you turned your television on and you saw adverts all the time, would you switch it off or change channels? Everyone said yes. Most people, poorly trained in Numi, are just spamming Numi every day. They are putting up adverts every single day. Third question was, how do you feel on social media when someone sends a welcome message to you and starts a genuinely interesting conversation and tells you why they've added you and interacts? And people said, yeah, I'd love that, right? And then the fourth question was assuming your new friend didn't overdo Numi, but revealed interesting things about themselves. Maybe they got a new puppy dog, or maybe they just bought a new car, maybe they had a beautiful dinner last night. Who knows? People have gone, yeah, I'd find that more engaging. And then finally, if someone asked you open-ended questions and engaged a conversation, you'd find that enjoyable. And everyone said yes. Thus ends the training today. Guys, I could stop right here. That's what you need to learn and what not to do. Now, everything I'm going to teach today is relevant to Facebook. I'm going to give you a bit of background. Facebook, for me, when it first started in the world, I was on it before my kids were, because my CEO in the mortgage industry said, Michael, I need you to understand this social media weird thing that seems to have started. and I need you to do some training so that people can understand how to use it in the mortgage industry. And that's where I learned the term selling is repelling. Write it down. Selling is repelling. I don't know how that'll rhyme when you're talking about different languages, but selling is repelling. And so he asked me or challenged me to study the experts back then, way back then, decades ago, and say, how can we monetize this? And what I realized was that most people were using it as a spam fest, even in the mortgage industry and the network marketing industry. And that's only because no one had trained them. And remember this, people buy off you and they buy you before they'll ever buy a product. So if they don't like you, you can have the greatest product in the world. There are people in Numi that can talk with marbles in their mouth underwater and never switch off, and they wonder why people cross the road and take a different path if they see them, and they approach people about Numi and they don't join. Then someone else shows a genuine interest in somebody, has a great conversation, really good people skills, and guess what? They end up joining them. So the product's the same. What's the difference? The individual and their people skills. Okay. So if you're hearing feedback, that might be because I have my phone just right here. I'll move it away a little bit. So thank you for that, June. If it stopped now, let me know because I've moved my phone away. Now, I want to say this too. Today, I'm going to be talking about Facebook, and I'm going to be running through an abridged, changed version or updated version of the training that we did on day one or the month one when the company started that everyone heard about back then. But this is not relevant for all platforms. What do I mean? Social media is social, and what I'm going to talk about is building relationships, building a tribe, engaging people so that you've got an everlasting list of people to draw from, like I have. I've sponsored 2 people in the last month, and both of them came from social media. Okay. So I'm just going to disconnect this one. Sorry, someone's pressing a button here. Decline that. But I will switch this off just so that it doesn't annoy June. Hang on a sec. Sorry, guys. Where is it? There it is. Switch that off and disconnect the audio. Okay, and done. Now, if you have any feedback from this moment forward, June, it's your computer, it's not us. Let's move on. All right. Thank you for everyone who's helping me out with the letting people in the room as well. All right, so let's get into the presentation today. Now, remember, if you're doing things like LinkedIn, it's business to business. It is all business. So don't take on board what I'm going to talk about today. If you have a Facebook page versus a Facebook profile, very different approach in what you should be doing. So we'll share all of that with you today as well. If you are on Instagram, it's a different process altogether. But the core principles of what I'm going to talk about is relationship building. And that's the key points that I want you to really understand. So let me bring my slides up and get this flying for you guys. Remember what I said. If you've got pen and paper, please take it out and take some notes. All right. First up, so creating a new you, social media professionalism. That's what we're all about. And this, as I said, was the training we ran on the first month of business. Why? Because my background was that's what I'd been successful with in the mortgage industry, which I'd trained. And of course, we put that into this industry. And hey, it got me to Crown in 12 months. So does it work? Absolutely, right? So our aim is, number one, to professionalize all Numi members to be the best in the industry. Number two, to protect our Numi brand from brand damage done by spammers. Number three, to protect your personal brand from damage through knowledge so that you know when you are overdoing it, because some people can't see the wood for the trees until someone points it out to them. Number four, to enlighten you on about creating a tribe versus a bunch of fake friends. And number five, to create an ocean of fruitful leads that you can fish from forever. Imagine it like a trout farm. Every time you put the hook in, something can be pulled out. And like I said, I've sponsored 2 people in the last 2 weeks since I got back from Asia from social media. One of them I had nothing to do with it, and she threw herself into the boat, and the other one was doing some of the things I'm going to talk about today. All right. But first, the timing on today's event was planned specifically to prime you ready for the new app and the new website, which, all going well, will be here very, very, very soon. I'm not going to say a date because I'll get committed to that. but it's very soon. We're just waiting on a few final tweaks. So please note that the information that I'm sharing, as I said, is relating to building a tribe on Facebook because it's been proven. None of this is theory. This is what I did myself, but all platforms are different. I won't attest to be an expert on TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok account. It's a very different beast. It's pretty much more look at me instead of interaction and relationships. So it's a different philosophy. So just know that it doesn't suit every single platform. And again, I'm going to give you my perspective. And when I say that, my beautiful friend Rhonda Dasher once said this. She said, Michael, I totally agree with a lot of the things you've said, and you've helped me, with this wisdom that you've talked about from your perspective to grow to diamond. First time I've ever been a diamond in the industry was in Neumi through realizing I didn't have systems and processes in the previous company. However, you see things here. Some people might see the same thing from a different angle. So I'm just going to give you my perspective. I would be lying to you if I talked about TikTok because I haven't got a clue. But I'd also be lying to you if I didn't tell you exactly what I did in Facebook to get myself to this point. Does it mean there isn't other ideas and things you can use on social media and that's my blind spot? Absolutely. Anyone who is not an egotistical maniac will tell you they don't know all the answers. I'm just going to tell you my perspective. There are other perspectives that might work on social media. I just want to say that up front. I'm not the expert in absolutely everything. I'm not even going to test to say I am. So, did you know most network marketers have never been trained on how to use social media at all? So, where do they find their training? They look at the person online and they copy what they see. Danger. Avoid the vortex. What do I mean? Don't become a Facebook zombie. Now, can you use Facebook and Instagram to grow and all these platforms to grow your business? Absolutely. But if you're not careful, you'll end up staring at everybody's rubbish and getting sucked into political arguments and all that stupid stuff. So practice dollar productive activities. What are they? If I am posting on social media or privately interacting on social media with a prospect, that's dollar productive. If I am arguing with someone about their political views, I am a dingbat and that is not dollar productive. So Facebook can be worse than cocaine. It can be so addictive that you spend your life just doom scrolling. And what I'm saying is avoid the doom scrolling, avoid the vortex, and only do dollar productive activities if you really want to build a big business. Now, again, before we get started, I want to talk about the diversity of network marketing that has grown over the years. There are traditional MLM people. For example, Alex says, social media hasn't been big for him. He's a traditional network marketer. Karen tells me the same. She says, I'm a traditional network marketer. She does do a bit of social media, but it's not her everyday thing. Modern network marketers, some of those, not all, have decided to adopt a bit more technology, social media, ways to connect, etc. Are either of them right or wrong? No. You can build all the way to crown without ever having a social media platform. I'm just showing you an extra way to grow your business that worked for me. Okay, so do you have to be big on social media? No, you don't. Let's talk about influencers. Now, influencers have a very different perspective on social media than someone like me using it to build relationships. It's more about, look at my product, look at this. They might have 60,000 followers. And this is where it's dangerous because the actions that a person with 60,000 followers do, if someone who is the average person on Facebook that might have 300 friends does the same thing, you will eliminate your market in 30 seconds and then you have destroyed it for the future. So buyer beware, don't copy blindly what you see online. I say it again. Buyer beware, don't copy what you see online. Get some training first and get some support upline. And finally, there are people who do expos as well. Now, why am I showing you all four of these? Because it wouldn't matter how you get someone to the table, whether they're using social media as a modern person, an influencer, someone running expos, traditional network marketer, belly to belly. Guess what? We want them all to do. Neumi 1, 2, 3. Connect to tools, connect to leaders, connect to products. So it doesn't matter how you hook the fish, but it's how you cook the fish, which results in ongoing leverage. And if you don't teach systems and processes, some people out there have rung a bell at a very big rank and then slid down like a slippery slope, like snakes and ladders, because all they're good at is recruiting, but not teaching basic systems. So just saying, remember, Neumi 1, 2, 3, no matter how you bring the fish to the table, you want to cook the fish using the proper processes, which is universal in every language. Now, here's the biggest thing. Here's an iceberg. We see that tiny bit of the iceberg above the surface, and then we see a huge amount underneath. That's what happened to the Titanic. Didn't see it coming. So what people see is up the top, right? And that's on social media where if you want to engage, you need to be interesting. But the biggest reason for my social media success is not even visible here. This is why the training. And that's being interested, not interesting, but interested. So above the surface, we see the interesting things. Please write that down. Under the surface, we see the interested things. Well, you don't even see them. I'm gonna pull the veil back and explain it to you today. So, two books I'd recommend you read if you want to learn more on this topic. Back when I started with the social media training for our CEO in the mortgage industry, one of the things he had me do was read a few books as well. And one of the books was a book by the name of Tribes from Seth Godin. Now, I'm going to tell you a sentence out of this book, which basically said if you have a engaged tribe of 1,000 people, then you can make a fortune doing anything. I'll repeat it again. If you have an engaged online tribe following you of 1,000 people, you can make a fortune doing anything. Now, some people took that out of context and they add fake friends without interacting them and grow themselves to 5,000 followers. I can see them a mile away because when they post something online, even though they have 5,000 followers, you turn around and there's two or three people interacting, which means no one cares. That's not a tribe. That's just a bunch of fake people you added for numbers to look popular, and that won't make you any money. So there's a very big difference between a tribe and a bunch of fake friends. Now, when I was 18 years of age, I did the Dale Carnegie course, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then they brought out a new copy of that book called How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. I can surmise what's written in this book in a really big way. Everyone's saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. No one is asking questions anymore. Now, when you ask a question, you validate someone's opinion, you engage them higher than you would just spamming out there, look at me, look at me, look at me. Now, again, very different to an influencer, very different to someone with 65,000 friends online. The average person doesn't have that. So you should look at these ideas instead of engaging. So the first one was the book about developing a tribe, people who have the same opinion as you on a particular topic that engage with you because you have similar beliefs. The second book, the biggest takeout is ask questions. Don't just talk at people, engage with people. These two books will transform you if you do it. Okay. So, building a tribe, a couple of things to consider. Number one, be authentic. Don't try and pretend to be something you're not. Quick question. Do you want to build a legacy or do you want to be right all the time? Type in the word legacy if you want to build a legacy and type in right if you want to be right in the chat. Do you know what? This is an interesting topic and I will share this with you. And I say this because, and again, I'm going to say this way. One finger pointing at you. See there's three fingers pointing at me. I'm not saying I know all the answers or do everything right all the time. Do I sometimes crack and post something about politics? Yes. Do I do it every day like some people? No. Right? Why not? Do you want to alienate your crowd? Be right. Then you won't be wealthy. Or do you want to be wealthy and not be right all the time? You choose. You have two choices. So let's get back to these slides and then I'm going to share a quick story with you about something. So things that could trigger your audience. Now, I love Steve Scott said once, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing, and I get that, but be mindful of the environment you're in. So sex, politics, religion, vaccines, gender, MLM, all of those things can polarize people. So I'm not saying don't stand for anything, but I'm just saying think about when you're posting what outcome you're going to get. Now, I'm going to share this story with you, and I don't mind if the person I'm talking about knows I'm talking about her because someone typed in one of the Facebook groups, I want a new sponsor. And of course, we don't allow those in the groups. We did decline and we said to the person, hey, the best way to talk about that is go back through customer service, find out what, let them tell them the story, tell them what's going on, whatever, because you can't just swap teams at willy-nilly. Anyway, I reached out to this individual because they said the person in her upline she could see was posting, and I don't care what your politics is right now. So shelve it and don't post in the chat because if you do, you have Tourette's and you don't understand people skills. So don't post in the chat right now on this topic. Some people are pro-Trump. Some people are anti-Trump. I'm not making either one of you right or wrong. I have my own beliefs. Follow me long enough and you'll subtly work out where I sit, but I'm conscious of that. This person was under someone who's broadcasting Trump all the time. And that's why she wanted to change teams because she was anti. And I'm like, okay, well, just, if you go further up the line, I know there's somebody there who's a very high rank who won't tell you who they vote for, and you'll work that out pretty quickly. So there's plenty of support. You don't need to move teams. You just need to maybe connect with someone different who has similar opinions if you can see beyond that. Anyway, fast forward 2 weeks, because this person was now on my friends list. All I can see is anti-Trump rant, anti-Trump rant, anti-Trump rant. And I'm like, this, I'm just going to say, call a spade a spade. This is the pot calling the kettle black. You can't blame your upline being pro stuff if you're the opposite. If anyone is ranting about something to alienate the opposition, good luck. You won't be wealthy, but you will be right. I'm going to stop on that topic, okay? I'll take her, just saying opportunist is right. Anyway, so my point is stay away as best you can from triggering people. Okay. Now we have a business that was started on Christian values. I have a crucifix around my neck. I have my beliefs, but I also have a big Muslim team and have very different beliefs to me. And that's okay because we aren't building a Christian only company. We are building a Christian values company. That's a very different thing. So people can have their own beliefs. That's also something we should think about. So perhaps we could call it anti-social media if you want to be promoting your own agendas all the time. And I'm just saying, I try and tone it down. I say again, I'm not perfect. Sometimes my eyes roll back in my head because of our current government in Australia and I say stuff with Tourette's and but it's only 10% of what I really feel, guys. So it is toned down very, 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 very hard. So back to the interesting. Let's start with this. You are the brand even before the Neumi brand comes up. I'll repeat that. You are the brand even before the Neumi brand comes up. So first I want you to ask this question, and this is critical for the whole event today. Who are you? How do you want to be perceived? I'll repeat it again. Who are you? But how do you want to be perceived? Some people, they come to Neumi and they are very heavily entrenched in nutrition. That was not me. When I first came across nutrition with the previous company, I hadn't a clue what glutathione was. And I was a business coach coaching people on small business. So for me, the easiest thing I could do is continue to brand myself personally, personal branding as an expert in business. And nutrition was second. So I made that conscious decision that nutrition, I'm not the nutrition expert, I am the business coach expert, and I know a good business when I see it. So that was my internal view of me. And that's what I then decided to follow when I was online. Some of you may be nutrition focused, and that's great. So what I'm saying is have an introspective look at yourself and decide, how do I want to be perceived online? Okay. Now, talking to a modern network marketer from a previous company, big leader, huge leader, who's now on board with Neumi, and he said, I don't post anything about companies ever, no matter who I'm with. And I'm like, that's cool. You don't have to. So I'm going to talk about that as well. So I'm going to share with you what's called the 4 faces of Facebook. Now, did I steal this from somebody? No, I invented it when Facebook started based on listening to all the experts because this was my perception on what I'd seen, and this is the philosophy I've used ever since. So get a piece of paper, please, and break it into 4 quadrants. Top left-hand quadrant, write the word professor. Top right-hand quadrant, write the word salesperson. Next one, family guy or girl, and then heart or humor, or both. So top corner, professor, right top corner, salesman, left bottom, family guy / girl, and then heart / humor. Now, here is a simple explanation for you. If you want to appear as balanced, and everyone said at the start of the call that they would engage better with someone who was balanced than spamming Neumi, 80% of your Facebook personal profile should focus on the things at the bottom. Family guy, girl, heart and humor. I'll talk about some examples in a minute. Above the line, the professor and salesman, 20% of what you post should have anything to do with that on your personal profile if you want to follow the engaging incubator relationship building strategy we're going to talk about today. Now, personality, you are the brand. The bottom 2 are the brand of you. That's what we're talking about. People bond with you because of what's down here first. And then at the top, do you need a business page? Some people, I'd say no, not until you've got a very big following personally, but that's just my opinion. Okay, and the tip will come back to you later. You cannot ever call a Numi your Facebook group or page starting with the word Numi. You can't call it Numi Mexico, Numi Italy. You can't call it Numi anything. You can call it Italy Numi. You can call it My Italian Numi Team. You cannot say Numi as a first word. If you do, you end up getting suspended till you change it. So that's, and if you see any of those, 99% of the time, the person just hasn't had an upline give them the compliance document. That's the only reason they don't know. So I just send them that and they go, oh, crap, I'll better change that pretty quick. So let's go back to if you have a business page. See the stats were 80-20. If you had a business page or you're on LinkedIn, I would suggest you just reverse the stats. A business page is for selling. A personal profile is not. That's why the statistics reverse. A LinkedIn profile is for business to business. It's not to show your puppy dog, right? So I would flip it. Now you need a little bit of personality. So I'm still saying include the personality in a smaller scale. So let's go back to your personal profile, which is where everyone should probably start. Remember the 80-20 rule, 80% in the bottom two, 20% at the top. So what does the bottom two look like? Well, I'm not going to tell you how to be a great human being, but I'm just going to show you some things that I would say when I scrolled down my Facebook yesterday, that I would say these are the sort of things that would be in the category of family guy. So great friends. Here's me photograph having some fun with friends, proud parents. Look at my kid that just achieved blah, 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 whatever. Good times. We're out having parties. We're out, having a few drinks with the friends or having dinner, lunch. Great food. My wife cooked something spectacular last night. Go and have a look on social media. Great sunsets. I've got beautiful birds out the front here, thousands of lorikeets. Positive quotes. If you've got a mental blank one day, type ChatGPT, give me a post about resilience. There's a heads up. Did you see what I posted yesterday? It's because I had a mental blank. I'm as simple as you. I didn't know to answer every question. I went and typed something in that motivated me for the day. And then finally, celebrate things, birthdays, anniversaries, who knows? This is the crux. Social media is just that. It's social. So these are the things people would want to see. And we're wanting to make money, selling Numi. How do we do it? I'll come back to that. Let's talk about the other one. Now, don't try and be a funny guy or girl if you're not. If your MO is that you are a big-hearted, beautiful person, everyone loves everything you talk about because you're all about heart and helping and making the world a better place, then play that card. Be who you are. Be the authentic self. If, on the other hand, you're a bit of a gagster and you make jokes and you can poke fun at yourself, share a funny post. Poke fun at yourself. There's nothing more hilarious than being humble enough to poke fun at yourself, right? You don't lose credibility. You actually empower yourself. Show you're human. Heartwarming posts, making a difference posts, revealing your passion posts. Look at my picture that I painted behind here. I was so motivated when I did this. First time I've ever painted in my life, and I did this, which I was blown away. That was the most engaging post I put up recently that people all engaged with. The key point here is be your authentic self. Now, you notice in the bottom two quadrants here, have I in any way talked about Numi? No, on purpose. Back to the 5 questions at the start. If all you saw on television was adverts, you're going to turn it off. You're going to defriend someone who just spams Numi all the time, right? Now, I might add, some people out there, and I've got to say this. Some people out there are looking at some of these people that are posting 3 times a day with Numi going, but look at all the people that are interacting, Michael. Well, I looked at the senior member one the other day and 99.9999999% of everyone interacting were existing already Numi members. You're not trying to recruit those guys. So do you want to look popular or do you want to make money? Engaging, right? Back to personality. So less is more, less is more. So back to here. If that's all you did on the bottom 2, what would you be doing? You'd be being the authentic version of yourself and revealing how much you're comfortable revealing. So if you don't want your kids' photos online, then don't put them online. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying reveal what you are comfortable with so the person can get to know the real you. 80% of your posts should be that. Let's talk about the top ones, professor and sales guy or girl. So health-related blogs, yeah? Ingredient information, medical advisory board CVs, new you interviews. When we do Numi interviews, there's lots of Numi new you interviews on YouTube you can share. Business hints and tips. If you've decided, like me, you are more of a business expert in your branding personally than a nutrition expert, Put up some business hints and tips, some positive quotes around business strategies and things like that. Prompt questions. Ask a question. If you do nothing else, ask a question and you watch. That's where people start interacting the most. And then live streaming content, right? Now, again, anyone should learn how to live stream. Yes, can everyone do it? Not necessarily. I saw one lady once where she was literally presenting and talking about her Young Living oils and great company, great oils, all that sort of stuff. But while she was doing, you could hear "mom, mom, mom, mom," and the kids were pulling her off the screen. I would have stopped the live stream. She chose not to. It was a lot more brand damaging in the long run for her than if she tried to maintain the professional look and feel. Now, I understand reality is good. A little bit of kids in the background wouldn't have been a bad thing. It's probably a good thing. But when you couldn't hear her for the kids dragging at her, she should never have started a live stream in the first place. So be very careful about that as well. So that's the professor. Notice that this isn't really selling because it's ingredient information, it's health related blogs, a medical advisory board, it's interviews, business hints, prompting questions. You're not selling, you're not saying click here to buy my product. Then the last one, how do you sell without selling? Now, the first thing I want to say here, some people who are big in the industry and big in my team will never say the word Numi online, and that's okay. Never, ever, ever, because they've chosen to keep their personal profile pure. Doesn't mean they're not recruiting using it. In fact, they're probably recruiting faster than the people spamming Numi. So start, even if you are going to say Numi in 90 days from now, 120 days from now, like I did after I got started, the first 90 days I used curiosity. So what does that mean? Well, I might say I'm launching something, or I've had this amazing result on this product that I've just tested. I've just gone to the gym. I've punched out a personal best. I've never felt this much energy. Oh my God, I'm sleeping deeper than I've ever done in my life thanks to this new product. See how I haven't said what it is? If you've ever played poker, and I'm not good at poker, so I want to be the first one to say that, but if I say, here's my aces, you go, oh crap, okay, he's going to win. We know what to do. If you go Numi, 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 Numi in the first month of your business, all your 300 to 600 Facebook friends on average have gone to Google, looked it up, and gone, it's either for them or it's not, and that's the end of it. There's no more coming back from that. Your aces are done. Instead, if you kept curiosity going, you could have continued that conversation ongoing with curiosity. So curiosity is a great way to start if you can, okay? So don't scare all the fish off. That's the biggest thing to say. So promote a Zoom event. You might say we're having an event with Dr. Glass talking about glutathione and yada yada. Whatever it is, we didn't, and you might say for the login link, send me a direct message or a private message. So don't give them to them because they can log on without you knowing that you're there. Instead, ask them or tell them to ask you for the login details. Promote a live event. At the moment with the NYKOs, we've got so many meetings around the world, even started early this year in January. It was phenomenal, got us a lot of momentum at the start. So promote that. Here is where, on a restricted basis, you can then link to your app and your app tools with various tools that are going to come out from the app. But here is what I'm saying. Notice how this is one post here versus 80% of this, 20% of these. This is only one component. If all you're doing is this, you are overdoing it. So calm the farm down and do it a little bit less and engage more. Sell less, engage more. If that makes sense, type yes. If everyone gets what I'm saying in the chat, please. You might have a special limited offer. There's all sorts of things you could do. Okay. But again, don't overdo it. And some people will stay incognito without mentioning the company name, using curiosity for a long time. And that's their prerogative as well. So nothing wrong with either of those. Remember what I said, we've got modern network marketers, traditional network marketers, influencers, and expo people. They will all have a different perspective. I'm just sharing what works for me. Okay. Take a screenshot of that right now with your phone. Count to 10 so you can do it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That screen is a guide. Have a look at yourself on your Facebook after this event. Pull that up and see, is 80% of your posts down here or is 80% of your posts over here? If it's all over here, that's when you're overdoing it. Get down here and do a bit more engaging instead. Now, that's how interesting is done. But key tips about engagement. Don't post late at night. You notice that a lot of the posts that come out from social media from Numi at the moment come out when the Americans are asleep and you wake up and they're already highly engaged with. That's because we know that the jewel in the crown at the moment with growth is Europe. So we're posting at a time that the majority of people are going to see it. We're smart with that in social media and Numi. So you do the same. Don't post when you've gone to sleep. If you're trying to recruit in Australia and you post all your stuff in Australia at midnight before bed, no one's going to see it. Wait till the next morning and post it. So you want mass exposure. Live videos gain the most traction. If you are able to do some live videos, which is daunting, I get it, but if you are able to step up and learn it, that's the most engaged thing on social media. But everything in moderation. I know some people who post a live video 3 times a day. You're overdoing it. People are going, now it's noise. So try and mix it up a bit. So then after the engagement of live stream videos goes photos and videos that are static. After that comes posts without images. They don't get as much traction at all. But a question is the most highly engaged thing you could do because people engage. And then if you want to build the algorithms, when someone answers the question, interact with them. The more interaction you do at the early stages of that, the faster something grows. Now, have you noticed that in some cases, sometimes on the Numi platform, we post something and we say, type in yes if you'd like the fact sheet, and you type in yes, and then some automatically Numi types in, hey, Beryl, go check your inbox. And then someone else types it and it says, hey, Mary, it's in your inbox now. That is an automated process we put in place. Why? Because it drives the algorithms and gets more exposure. The more people that engage highly at the start, the faster something goes to the top of the news feed. But again, everything in moderation. I know someone who obviously went to a social media course, and this is what I saw happen. Don't be this person. They've gone, hey guys, we just come back from holidays in Mexico. We're wondering next time, should we go to Europe or Australia? And people go, Europe or Australia. Next day, they've gone, hey, just wondering, should I have milk in my coffee or black coffee? People go, black coffee, black coffee. And then the next day go, hey, should I start brushing my teeth on the left side or the right? I mean, come on. Questions are important, but if you're just going to ask stupid questions and just keep asking questions, you're just showing ignorance, if you like. Everything in moderation. So yes, questions work, but not if you ask them every 20 seconds. Yes, live streaming videos work, but not if you do them every 20 seconds. So balance everything. Now, add to your tribe. Now, when you add to your tribe, how do you do that? You do life. So what do I mean? I love photography. I love drones. That's my passion. I now love painting, so I'll join some painting groups just to learn things about a passion that I have that has nothing to do with Numi. Now, there's a group called the Sunshine Coast Professional Photographers Group. I'm not a professional, but I do have all the gear and it's my passion. And so I've posted a few photos in there and won the daily photo of the day and people interacted. Now, if someone interacts, what I then do is go, hey, Mary, thanks for your feedback. Wow, I looked at your photos and they're amazing. I've just sent you a friend request. They may accept, they may not. I didn't just send a friend request. I interacted with the person first because that's what you would do. Okay. Um, all right. So let's keep going on that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reserve them at the end, guys. Now, where are we? Back to the slides. All right. So, welcome messages to everyone. That's a good point. So I welcome everyone. If someone sends me a friend request, what I do every single time is I type a message to them. So I accept the friend request and I say, hey, Mary, thanks for the friend request. Always happy to meet new people around the world. Do me a favor though, apologies if I don't remember. Have we met before? If not, that's okay. Just tell me a little bit about yourself. If we have, just remind me. I'd love to know more. If they don't interact, and then I notice that they're doing spamming a network marketing company, I then send another message 3 days later and I go, hey, Florence, I noticed you've seen my welcome message, but you haven't interacted yet. No offense, but there's a lot of fake profiles out there. So do me a favor, just reply so I can see there's a real person at the other end because I like to protect my network from spammers. And then I get an interaction. If I don't, I unfriend them and keep them out of the network because all they're going to do is do the same stupid things to the next person. And I want to protect the network. Generally, they'll interact and say, oh my God, so sorry, I was really busy when your message came in. Yeah, we haven't met, or, this is that, this is that. We start interacting, and I'm starting an open-ended question interaction, which I'll come back to in a minute. So And plus, there is a lot of fake profiles, guys. You've got to have your vigilance. Now, understand raving fans. What is a raving fan? A raving fan is somebody who is in your tribe, who has a similar perception as you to the world. And I salt the crowd sometimes. What do I mean? If I post something online, often I will send it through to a couple of my key leaders, call them sparring partners, and I say, hey, could you just throw some love at this post? Two or three people do, then everybody else blindly follows like lemmings falling off a cliff. Everyone interacts then. If you put a post up and there's no interaction, biggest tip of my life, if you don't understand what I mean by raving fan, go and get yourself a sparring partner, somebody else who needs you to interact with a couple of their posts as they get started. And when you see theirs, like and love it, share a comment. When they see yours, like and love it and share a comment. So up the top here, this is what we've been talking about. Interesting. That's only the tip of the iceberg. This is not where the majority of the success is coming from. It's coming down here. This is the bit you really need to listen to. If you've heard nothing I've said so far, this is the sweet spot. This is the sustainable secret. Be interested privately, not interesting. What do I mean? Well, if someone adds you on Facebook and then privately they go, hey, Florence, great to connect. Let me tell you all about me. You know, I'm the founding advisory board member with a company called Neumi. We started this, we, me, I. She's going to go, we use the word tool in Australia. What a tool. I will disengage. You know, what a self-obsessed imbecile. Another word for it, right? Instead, if I said, hey, Florence, great to connect. Tell me more about what you do. What do you do for a living? I'm really interested in that. And then start a genuinely open-ended question series privately. So I really mean genuinely interested without a Numi agenda. So open-ended questions. Why did you get involved in that industry and how long have you been doing it for? What do you do for a living? Tell me more about that. How do you do what you're doing? Or how did that happen for you? Tell me about this, that, and the other. You can't say yes or no to these. If I say, what made you get into this industry? You can't say yes. You can't say no. You have to answer in a sentence. An open-ended question is designed to make the other person do all the talking. Quick story. Way before I met my beautiful wife, even before my fiance passed, I was single in the mortgage industry and I went out on a date with a girl from the office. I asked her lots of questions during that dinner. In that, I determined she was definitely not someone I wanted to be together with from those questions. But she sent me a text afterwards saying, wow, you are so interesting. Here's the tip, guys. Didn't say anything about me. I'm interesting. I was interesting because I was interested in her. People love to talk about themselves. If you want to engage a conversation on social media, ask a genuinely interested conversation or question. Right. My secret to success, separate contacting from inviting. Now, you don't have to do this. It just works with my personality, right? I don't like, going for the jugular. As soon as you have said something about nutrition, I'd like to be more interested instead. So here's a funnel: contacting, inviting, presenting, following up, and sponsoring. So if you looked at my stats, they look probably more like this. 50 people contacting. Contacting means just having a conversation. Tell me about your puppy dog, Florence. Hey, wow, looks like you went to Europe recently. Well, which countries did you go to? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. No mention of Numi, because I'm sifting to find the ones that I do have an opportunity to invite, which might only be half of them. And then, of course, not all of the people I invite are going to watch a presentation, maybe less do. Not all of them are going to go hop on a Zoom call for a follow-up with my sponsor, and not all of them are going to join. But out of a 30 invited, I can pull out at least 3 members out of that on average. Some people pull out more, some less. I'd probably pull a few customers out of those numbers as well. Here's where people are deluded. They're doing this. Contact 3, invite 3, present to 3, follow up with 3, expecting 3 to join the business. That is just deluded. Not everyone's going to have the same opinion on any topic. So the key problem is here. Have more contacting than inviting, so you're not pushing an agenda. Because I have had people say to me, Michael, you say you don't have a Numi agenda, but ultimately you do. And I'm like, no, you're not hearing me. I'm not. Because if I have the conversation with Florence and nothing comes up in that conversation that bonds us or that I can talk about that leads to an opportunity of either, health issues, Numi, monetary issues, Numi, travel, desire, Numi. If I can't find something that I can go, hey, you know how we spoke about this yesterday? This might be for you. I don't know how I did that. Exciting. Then If I don't do that, then I'm still selling. So I'm only fulfilling a need because I interview, if you like, or get to know in contacting way more people than I'll ever bring up the Numi opportunity with, right? So I never feel like I'm pushing. So I've widened my funnel here for a reason because I want you to understand the second secret to my success, other than separating contacting from inviting without a Numi agenda, is to have way more contacts in the contacting stage than the inviting. And if you do that, you'll never feel like you're pushing anyone. And then off we go. So, know why you're doing this. My beautiful friend online once said, I won't say who, said it's a slow boat to China. And I said, yes, it is. It's not an overnight thing. This is attraction marketing at its best. And put as many hooks in the water as you can. I said I've sponsored two people out of social media in the last 2 weeks. One came from Facebook, and you're going to love this. This person from Facebook has been with me from way back in the previous company. We worked out we haven't spoken since 2013, and she sponsored herself from my public Facebook posts last week when I was away in Europe, sorry, in Asia. I was surprised, right? But in LinkedIn, I just sponsored a new person from Philippines because I started adding them and starting open-ended private conversations. And this person was from a previous company and just jumped on board. So one from being interesting and staying engaged, another one from being interested privately. So again, real life examples, finger on the pulse. I'm doing this not last year, not when I hit Crown, today, last week, the week before. These are things I'm doing on a daily basis. If you want an everlasting list that you'll never run out of, learn these strategies. It'll put you in good stead. So, did you know, as we wrap up, this is important. Did you know we love all our Numi members and we know that you're passionate about our products, but did you know there's a document that can guide you on what you can and cannot do using our brand names for every single country in all languages that you need to give to everyone before they start? Why? If they saw what I just said, someone might go out and then they might start a page using the first word Numi. I've seen them. One of my own group. I've seen Numi Mexico, which has been told to get shut down. I've seen Numi Italy. You can't start Numi Cyprus, Numi Australia. You can't. It's actually against our code of conduct. Why do we do that? Because we don't want people accidentally thinking you are Numi Australia, because you're not. None of us are. Not even I have, as a founding advisory board member, not even I have the right to do that, right? But you can put Numi as the second word. So I did for the whole global team, including Alex Monterosa, the master distributor, and everyone downline. We created Everything Neumi Worldwide. Compliant, asked the company, they approved it, off we go. So that's what we did for a team page there, okay? But that's literally within the rules. But if you don't give someone this guideline beforehand, I'll guarantee you someone in your group accidentally blindly goes and registers Numi something, and you can't do that. So, example, you can't say Numi Mexico, Numi Costa Rica, Numi Global Achievers, but you could say Mexican Numi member, Costa Rican Numi team, Global Achievers Numi. Any of that's fine as long as the first word isn't Numi. Did you know we're not allowed to use the brand names either? So you can't start a NutraSwish page, a Swish 30 page, a Numi Skin page, a Hydrostat page, a Prima Skin page, a Neuro, a Hers, or a Numi Hair. They are all protected as well. Now we have something called Field Watch, which is a company externally of Numi, and they are scanning the internet and sending us examples of all of these if someone does. We then politely reach out to them and ask them to change it. If they refuse, they get suspended, okay? So even a group, if you have a Facebook group, you can't call it Numi anything either. You can use the second word or the third word, totally okay, but you need to also include the word independent member group or independent member page. If you go to the team one we started, it does say independent member group across all countries, right? So why? It's to, again, to make sure that no one is accidentally misrepresentation of the company themselves, okay? So this is all about creating a new you. And if you're wondering where that document is, I'm going to show you. I now know two things I need to shut up about social media. I love Larry. All right, I'm going to show you a document. This document, there it is, has just, I hope that screen's come up. This is brand new. It's in the back office now. It's the member guidelines on compliance. Everything I'm telling you about what you can and can't say for testimonials, product claims, income claims, Facebook pages, etc., all in that document. So make sure every one of your new members gets hold of that, because that's the best way to make sure they all stay on track. Okay, now someone has asked if they can make a comment. I'm going to stop the recording live streaming now, and we will open up for a Q&A, but we never live stream the Q&A questions. Why? Just so you know, we don't do it for a reason. We don't know what's going to come out of someone's mouth. So if it's training that is something that we'd go, actually, we totally disagree with that. We haven't live streamed it. B, if something non-compliant said, then of course we don't get to hear about that either. So guys, if you're watching us on social media, we want to thank you for attending, watching the playback. Type in where you're watching it, even if you're watching the playback. I'm going to stop the live stream now, and we'll open up for a Q&A with anybody in the Zoom.